Hey everyone, it's Lauren here, and I am loving the cut files this month. So Anita made this layered flower one, and I've cut them, and I'm not sure if they're all meant to go into one or whether it makes a few, but I've used them to make a few different flowers. And so you can see here I've decided on this pattern paper as the background, and then I'm going to colour all these with our Vicky Budin watercolor markers. Got that out. That we got in our previous kit this year. So I'm just putting them there so I can decide on some colours. And I just experiment. I put some water here, and I thought I would dissolve the colour and spread the colour this way by dipping it in water and getting the colour off the brush onto the paper, which looks nice. I do like it. It does give you a good even colour. But it just wasn't watercolory enough for me, so I changed my tactic in the next one. But let's just have a look. So go over it with here. These watercolor markers I think I've used all the time, every month since we got them. Pretty sure we got them in February, and every month I've used them for something or other. So I'm just going to go over with some of the orange, just so that it has a bit of depth and difference to the colour. I'm not going all the way to the edges so that the yellow stands out. So you can always just have a play. Especially, it's just a little bit of cardstock. If you have to cut the cut file again, it's not going to matter. But then I'm just going to dip the little stamen parts in, and then I couldn't pick it back up again without taking off the colour, so I'm just dabbing a little bit of colour on that spot that I missed. Now this is where I spray straight onto the flower, and you can see how the colour then just moves around and becomes more flowy rather than filled in, and I like that look. So then I continue. So just going to show you a couple of the ways that the couple of the petals. So you just brush it around. I'm not really squeezing because there's lots of colour in the brush of the art markers, but I'm just putting some water everywhere and then moving the colour around. So that one I'm squeezing because it wasn't coming out bright enough. It was going to be too light of a colour that I wouldn't be able to see anything. So now I'm going to dry them, and I've got to be careful because obviously you can see that they're quite soaked with colour and water. So, and they're just little, just cheap cardstock. It's not even basil cardstock or anything. So I'm just going to give it a quick dry, and then I'll layer it up and go to the next one. So I just kept this little bit in, not the whole drying time because that'd take a while, but I just kept the drying in so we could make sure I reference it, but also then I could layer it up like this. So when I'm drying it, I was being a bit more forceful in around the edges and stuff so that the paper curls up and whatnot. That way it just saves me curling it up when I am putting it all together. So you can see how easy it is. You just put some water on and then squeeze some colour or just get the colour off the brush and go, go, go. That was a lot of colour that came out, but that's alright. And you can see these are the layered up flowers. I've decided to leave that first one there. It's just too bright of a colour and it just wasn't going to work for me. So you can see I'm coming back in, and this is where my layout's going to come together. So it's really nice. You could definitely make a bunch. I'm pretty sure I didn't double up any of the flowers or anything. I feel like that it was just one cut of the cut file, but I'm not sure. I can't remember. It was too long ago. Do you ever have those moments where, you don't remember things that you're like, I feel like I should have remembered. Anyway, I'm pulling out the floral die cuts that we got just to see if there's any that will match. I don't want to do some little layering on top of each other and around and have this kind of cluster going on the left and to the top of the photo. This photo is my children at Floriade, which is a tulip festival in Canberra every year. Unfortunately not this year, but anyway, there's the times that we're living in, isn't it? And then we're going to pull out some of these leaves. These leaves are so pretty. I think I just want a packet of just the leaves. They're so nice. So on we go, and just having a little play. There's so many flowers, so many different types, and the colours work so well with the background, obviously, because that's the same collection, but also it works so well with the watercoloured cut file flowers that I've made. So just having a play, you can see there's no right or wrong, it's just what looks good in the moment. So just having a little play. Pretty. So who is enjoying the May kits this month? Who's created a lot of stuff and has got going? Hopefully you've had some time in isolation. If you're isolating at home, although it looks like everything's starting to lift a little, so I don't know what that means for people in their lifestyles, but I've always been working. In fact, my work got busier rather than less. But anyway, that's just what's happened. So you can see here, it's a whole pile of different leaves. There's lots of different colours too, which is nice. So it adds that little bit of difference. Just have a little play with where things are sitting so that it looks a bit even. Sometimes, like, I can happily just stick and glue, but things like this where I need to fiddle a little bit. Otherwise, I would have glued things down that I didn't particularly think were the right spot. So there you go. Ended up with pink and light purples and a bit of the orange and yellowy kind of tones. So that worked really nice, and I'm going to stick them all down after I decide on the last few pieces. There's all these other whole pieces of leaves. So just going to fiddle and put so that every leaf has a flower. Well, I guess every flower has a leaf. It's probably better English. And then I'm going to think about a title. I really like the font of that together. It's just so nice. And then Happy Together works well as a title. And we're going to put that there, but we'll put that to the side for the moment. We're going to glue down the pieces. So I'm just going to show you how I glue them. And then I can fold up the edges so that there's texture to the flowers. There's it's going to be, some of it's going to be squash being put into an album, but it might be a nice one to display for a while before I put it in an album. Plus, you can always get some kind of niceness. You can plump it back up again in your album if you want. So I just pulled out some brads. I just thought, I pulled them out of my stash kit, out of my stash to put in my little texture extras. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out my prep video on my channel. So I pulled out the white brads, and I'm going to put one of them each into the clusters of the flowers, including the flowers that are just the pink paisley ones. So in it goes, just using my scalpel because I've lost my die pick tool. I don't know why or how or where it is, but anyway, hopefully it'll turn up one day. So I'm just going to go through, glue them down, just use it, tie a little bit of wet glue, and then a brad straight through the middle, and then we'll come back. The power of TV, well, it's not TV, power of editing, and we'll have all the flowers stuck down, and we can work on the end of editing. So I got this trim here that I also pulled out my texture stash, and I thought it would go nice on the kit. And actually putting that there like that, I really like it now when I'm editing. So I don't know why I didn't leave it there, but anyway, it doesn't make it to the layout as much as I do give it a good red hot go. But sometimes in the moment, it's just not the way, it's not what I'm feeling. So I'm going to put it aside and I'll use it on something else. So just pulling out the little inner parts of the letters because they were stuck in there. And then I'm just going to stick down the title, put in the happy there, and then together. These stickers are really lovely, the stickers. They're from Rosie Studio, I believe, if my memory serves me right. And I was going for a funky look in terms of how the letters were sitting, but you'll see it just doesn't go well because of the letters of happy. So I it just doesn't look good having it scattered like that, so I'm going to end up moving the letters down and making them straight. Ta-da! Much better. That way they can nestle into the flowers on the left there, and then go together with the happy word together on top, rather than looking too distant or too scattered. So I'm going to try this trim. Really looks nice there. Why didn't I keep it? Goodness gracious. It doesn't look nice there, so I don't know why I thought that. So funny, isn't it? And then here, it might have looked alright over here if I'd done it before I stuck the flowers down. It kind of needed to be like layered under those leaves there in the middle where my hand is. But that's okay. It doesn't need to be on there. The way it's got enough going on that the layout's going to work out in the end. So just going to have a little play. Now these are another item from my stash. Goodness. So these flowers, no, they're not flowers, these hearts are from Japan. When my ex-husband went over to Japan one year, he brought back a whole pile of stationery items, and one of the items were these foam hearts, and they just got a sticky backing, which, mind you, that sticky backing is perfect. It is a really good amount of stickiness. So they've got pink and white, and they've got blue in the kit, in the packet, but I didn't bring any out of the blue because obviously it just wasn't the right blue, so it just wouldn't work with the kit. But I'm going to nestle these hearts in there, so I'm going to have that cluster near the title and that cluster up the top with the 3 hearts, although they're spread out a little. And then I'm going to stick them all down, and then we're going to do a little bit more, but not too much more on the layout. So hopefully you've been killing your kit, and that you've been using those subscriber exclusives that we get, these cut files, and there's printables, but there's so many cut files that we get each month that Anita just blows it out of the park, and it just surprises me every time, and I can't decide. And if I decided to use them all, because I'm doing that monthly prep to cut what I think what inspires me when after I open the kit, I would never, all my layouts would have cut files on them. Because they're just so many, and so many good ones that just match really well, or they just are easy to use in terms of you could find a photo or a design element that you want to go with. So I've pulled out these from my stash, and I'm going to add some of these word stickers. The watercolory look just went really nice together, so I'm going to lay that underneath that love heart just so that it is nestled into the background rather than sticking out on top. Then I decide this little word here needs to go, so I'm going to move that top sticker, and so that it doesn't look too cluttered with the 3 word stickers together. Here we go. And it goes back again. Isn't it funny sometimes that you're like, oh no, it's not going to go there. Then you move it around, then you're like, oh no, it is going to go there. So just pulling out my Nouveau drops. This is some gold. So that's just going to be a nice little point of texture. So I'm just doing 3 little dots, just like enamel dots, in a couple of sections, just so that it can be seen when you look in detail of the layout. So I'm not the best at making them all smooth and stuff because it's new to me to use Nouveau drops, especially for enamel dots. But I'm trying, and it just works anyway, so it'll be fine. But here is the close-up, and hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Hopefully you're going to go get your mixed media messy on and enjoy your kit. Bye for now.